Hey, little buddies! I'm Zion. How are you today? I hope you're doing okay. Do you see my hat? Do you know what kind of hat this is? It's a construction hat. They like to call it a hard hat. I like to wear it when I think really, really hard. Do you have a hat? Put it on! If you don't have a hat, that's okay. We can all put on our thinking caps. It's time to read with Zion on the Big Lake channel. And today, our story is titled Seeds Part 6. As Jake drove up the long driveway and pulled into the yard, he saw IT coming up from the pasture back behind the house. When IT spotted Uncle Jake's truck, he started across the field to greet him. But while IT was running fast to get there, Roy was already at Uncle Jake's truck's door, jumping up and down with renewed energy from his early morning nap. As soon as the truck rolled into a stop, little Roy was asking, "Did you bring Pawpaw the foil?" "Yes, I did bring Pawpaw Freddy his foil." "Would you please deliver it to him?" said Jake. "Oh yes, I'll take it to him, Uncle Jake." Jake handed the foil to Roy, and he took off like a little hummingbird. Jake laughed as that heavy-duty roll of foil was almost bigger than Roy. But Roy was handling it and screaming, "Pawpaw, special delivery!" He just shook his head and thought that Roy was getting to be a big boy. Before Jake could turn his head, though, he felt a huge tunnel of air coming towards him as IT wrapped his arms around his uncle's waist. "Hey, Uncle Jake! Hey, little buddy! How's my favorite nephew today? And how's that beautiful horse? Are you taking good care of it?" Jake said. IT answered, "We are doing good. Big Blue is getting new shoes next week." Uncle Jake said, "Oh, wow. That sounds exciting. I'll come and help you put them on." "Okay." IT said, "Yay, okay. Well, let's get this fruit inside to your mama." Uncle Jake said to IT. Uncle Jake began handling the bags from his truck to IT to carry inside to his mama Precious, who was busy polishing her silver punch bowl. As IT and Uncle Jake carried the packages in and out of the house, Jake said, "Precious, it smells like heaven in here. I can't wait for that cake to get done. Did you make me a sample?" Precious laughed and got up and walked over to Jake and kissed him on the cheek and said, "You know I got you covered," she said. "Thank you so much for being so good to us all the time. You are the best brother anyone could ever ask for. Thank you for everything you do. And a thank you for bringing me all my supplies." Jacob was Precious' brother-in-law, but she always called him her brother, and he called her his sister. There were no in-laws and outlaws in that family. Everybody was just family. Precious said, "Jake, let me get my purse." Jake said, "Okay." As Precious left to go get her purse, Jake patted IT on his head and said, "I'll see you later, fella." IT said, "Mama's getting her purse." Uncle Jake laughed and said, "Tell your mama I love her and bye. I don't need no money. I need some cake." He laughed and darted to the truck. Ha ha! I gotta go. IT waved at his uncle and headed down the driveway. Bye, IT said. As Precious returned to the room, she looked out of the screen door and saw Jake turning out onto the road. She saw IT, now outside, playing under the horse apple tree and chunking the fallen horse apples all over the yard. Precious called out to IT. IT, baby, come here. IT came running and said, yes, Mama? Mama Precious said, baby boy, thank you for helping Uncle Jake to bring the groceries in. Now, I'm going to need your help a lot today, okay? Yes, Mama, I want to help you, said IT. Okay then, please go and wake up your brother. I know he was probably up half the night, but there is a lot we had to do for your daddy's party. I need you to all clean up the yard, pick up all those horse apples you've thrown everywhere, and go and get those extra chairs out of the barn and wash them off. And sweep the porches and the patios. And pull any new weeds out of those flower beds, water the flowers, rake up any grass clippings from the lawn that your daddy cut last night. After you finish all that, I want you boys to bathe and straighten up your rooms and put on those starched jeans and new shirts I bought you last week, IT said. Okay, Mama, I'll wake up Micah. Precious knew that was all IT heard, as she would have to repeat that list of chores about 10 more times before they got it all done. That would keep them busy and mostly out of trouble, she knew. Precious walked out back to check on Roy and Papa Freddy. As she walked across the yard out of the smokehouse, she could hear Papa's music playing. She could hear her baby boy dancing and singing. And more importantly, she could smell the pecan wood burning in the pit. It was going to be hot. It was already hot, and so she was carrying with her a tray of snacks and a pitcher of ice-cold lemonade. She had made sandwiches for those two and had managed to bake a quick pan of chocolate chip cookies for the bunch. As Mama Precious was coming across the yard, Roy spotted her and took off running to meet her. The light from both their faces, hers and Roy's, were like fresh sunshine. Roy's face was so full of love and joy as he came nearer to his mother that it was as if he were looking at an angel. She witnessed the look in his eyes, and it made her heart simply melt. Her baby was still her baby, but growing past her almost every day. It wasn't a growing you could readily put your finger on, but it was there. In every step closer to him, she knew her baby was getting further away. But for now, she could still smell the baby magic on his skin, filling her nostrils with a peace that only a mother could know. As she leaned down to kiss him on his sweaty little forehead, she showed him the tray of cookies, sandwiches, and lemonade. Roy said, "Mama, you brought us snacks." She answered, "Yes, baby, Mama brought you some snacks. Can you run and open the icebox door so I can put your snacks inside? It's getting so warm already. We'd better keep them cool." Roy went and held open the door to the icebox cooler, which was kept outside under the pavilion near Papa Freddy's barbecue pit. The pavilion sat in a grove surrounded on one side by a row of towering magnolia trees, and on the other side, a cluster of lilac crepe myrtles. leading up the graveled pathway to the pavilion. Pawpaw Freddy had planted his favorite flowers. A bag of agapanthus, lily of the Nile flowers, speckled with green and white hydrangea, escorted you up the walk. It was such a beautiful spot to spend what would be an enormously hot afternoon. The mammoth magnolia trees were as a perfect screen wall from coming midday sun, and the crepe myrtles were like an open window, allowing in speckled light and wisping breezes. The pavilion was one of Precious's favorite spots to sit in the yard, often as she could. Precious would sit in this spot in the early morning. She would listen to the mockingbirds screech and the robins chirping. Here, she'd sit watching the blue jays and the cardinals flutter from branch to branch while taking in the subtle cooing of the doves. If ever there was a visual symphony, this was it. The water from the babbling brook that ran off from the spring that crossed their property could always be heard in the quiet melody of the morning if only you took time to listen, as she often did. Precious would sit there at least an hour, sometimes two, on mornings where she felt she needed to reconnect to herself before rejoining the world of inordinate and never-ending to-dos. That was always the order of the day, but today, that pavilion was a ruckus with activity, laughter, smoke and fire, dancing and singing, and it was under that pavilion that the bountiful display of food and music and lights, candles and voices of singing and celebration would continue into, no doubt, the late hours of the night and into the wee hours of the next morning. She quickly placed the ice tray into the box and rubbed her hands across Pawpaw Freddy's neck and shoulders and asked if he had everything that he needed. She gave him a hug before he could answer and started back to the house to check on their cakes. And she knew Pawpaw Freddy was as thorough and organized as anyone could ever be. She leapt into his laboratory and she returned to hers. They were so much alike in their journey to perfection. She understood that the best thing that she could do was leave him be, as his assistant Roy would be his runner for any loose ends. Roy ran up behind her and grabbed the tail strings of his mom's apron and dropped her hand down to her side to meet his as he walked with her back up to the porch. Roy kissed his mother's hand like he'd seen his father do so often, rubbed his tiny hand across hers like a hummingbird, darted straight back in the direction of Pawpaw Freddy. She knew Pawpaw Freddy was as thorough and organized as anyone could ever be. She leapt into his laboratory and returned to hers. They were so much alike in their journey to perfection. She understood that the best thing she could do is leave him be. As his assistant, Roy would be his runner for any loose ends. Roy ran up behind her and grabbed the tail strings of his mother's apron. She dropped her hand down to the side to meet his as he walked with her back up to the porch. Roy kissed his mother's hand like he'd seen his father do so often. He rubbed his tiny hand across hers and like a hummingbird darted straight back in the direction of Pawpaw Freddy. The end. Thank you for watching the Big Lake channel. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Big Lake channel if you like watermelons. Please like, follow, share, and subscribe to the Big Lake channel if you agree that Christmas decorations should be put up before Halloween. I really appreciate the views. Come back soon for another story. Goodbye. Please follow us on Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and check out our Spotify playlist. I will be updating it very soon. Goodbye.